How many fantasy football leagues is too many? All right. I struggle with this every year. Okay. I'm in 4 leagues right now. I'm trying to fight my way out of these leagues, but my homies, they want me to play in them. I can't say no to them. I love fantasy football. But in a perfect world, I would just play in 2 leagues. The league that I'm the commissioner in, that Miss D won last year. So I got to get that back. I got to get that trophy from her because she got bragging rights all through the house. But that league, and then I'm in a dynasty league, which if you're going to do fantasy football, that's the way to do it. Stay in one traditional league and then get in a dynasty league that'll last as long as you and your friends like football. And just ride it out like that. If you get too greedy, like I am, and you love sports as much as me, you find yourself in 4 or 5 leagues. But how many leagues is too many? I'm going to tell you right now, 4 is too damn many. All right. I got homies that are in 5 leagues or were in 5 leagues, and I don't know how they did it. It gets to a point where you basically rooting against yourself. You're rooting against your own interests because you're in other leagues going crazy because you got a player playing against another player in your league. So that's kind of why I stopped doing it. I ended up falling into 2 more leagues this year, but one of the leagues I'm in is a 2 quarterback league. Sounded interesting to me, so I got into that. And then another league is a big money league, so obviously I want to win some money, so I'm in that league. But I got to find a way to scale it back. But you guys let me know what you think as far as leagues go. How many leagues is too many? Because I want to actually watch football and enjoy it. I want to watch the Bears play and not root against individual players because I'm matched up against somebody this week playing with my actual players on a fantasy team. So it's just crazy. Fantasy football is a big deal. It's great for the sport. I love what it does for football, and I love what it does for fans. People that are not football fans or just kind of being introduced to football, fantasy football is a great thing for them. You get to learn individual players. If you're a fan of just one team, you start to learn about other players on other teams and how good they are, and you start to understand the game more. Now there's a vested interest, right? You have this fantasy team with individual players from other teams. Now you're going to start being interested in where they're playing, who they play against. You start learning the divisions. You start learning all these things about football. So there's a lot of good in football. Where it gets crazy is when you start getting 3, 4, 5 fantasy football leagues at the same time. We need to put a cork on that for sure. And I'm talking about everybody, me included, for sure. I'm at the front lines of that. I'm in too many leagues. But also this. How many of y'all are tired of doing these drafts before the preseason or during the first 2 weeks of the preseason? Because I think that these fantasy league, like ESPN, Yahoo, all these places you can do leagues, they need to put a cap on it. Like you can't start drafting until the last preseason game, the week of the last preseason game. Why do you say that, Jay? Why can't we draft it when we want to? Because it should just be called the Andrew Luck rule. Do y'all remember that years ago? Everybody was drafting super early, picking Andrew Luck as the number 1 pick, number 2 pick, whatever. Andrew Luck gets hurt. He's out for the year. And you stuck with him. So that's the reason we have that rule. We basically laugh at people and kind of joke like, oh, I guess you're going to go pick Andrew Luck. The reason that should be a rule, though, is because if you're drafting too early and players get hurt, Justin Herbert, right? Justin Herbert fell in these fantasy drafts because he's hurt. He's got this plantar fasciitis. We don't know when he's coming back. But he may be a steal down the road. So there's the positive side. But also on the flip side, if you pick these players so early, week 1, week 2 of the preseason, and then we don't know what we're getting when the season starts, it's just kind of I don't know if I like that. So in the league that I'm the commissioner of, the way we do our draft is right before week 1. Pretty much that Saturday or that Sunday before week 1, before the Thursday night game is when we like to do it. So we know everybody. We saw everybody in the preseason. We scouted. We saw who's healthy. All these things, rookies. If we want them, cool. Now we can rock and roll with the fantasy draft. So that's just a couple things. Y'all let me know how many drafts is too many, number one. And two, do we need to stop with the drafts in early August and push them to closer to Labor Day? All right.